do anything else other than just going and presenting myself in the contest. Whatever stage they chuck me out, I don't care. Whether it is the club level, area level, division level, district level, international level, whatever stage they chuck me out, I don't care. I just keep presenting myself. And that has really helped me to reach where I have reached. If you really ask me, 15 years back when you joined, what has changed in you? I have to say there is nothing which has changed. If you ask me if my vocabulary has changed, because there are many people who will think that vocabulary can change significantly. Whatever vocabulary I had, maybe around 150 to 200 words 15 years back, I continue to have the same. In fact, I tried for some time, maybe every day a word and all that gimmick I tried. So in fact, once I attempted that also for almost 30 days, I took some of the toughest words that I read in some newspapers or books. And then after 30 days, it was so tempting that I thought I should give a speech. So I went and gave a CC5 speech in the club. So the evaluator of the speech was over. He said, Sridhar, it was a great speech, but next time give a speech in English, he said. And that is how it was. Because, most of the words they didn't understand at all. So vocabulary, if you really look at it, nothing happened. Then I thought maybe if I have to win a contest, if I have to become a great speaker, I should become an inspirational speaker. I should take some lives of people and then quote them and do it. So interestingly, in Toastmasters and in many inspirational forum, if you see, this Thomas Alva Edison actually comes in very handy for everybody, because I don't know how many times he failed, 999. Some say it is 9,999 times to invent that bulb. But I thought I should also do something, and then found out something about him and went and gave a speech. I looked like a bulb that day. It didn't work very well because inspiration was something which I could not get. I tried many things. I wanted to build multiple messages in a speech. I wanted to do so many other things, but even in terms of inspiration, could not really take me anywhere. So that part also did not change. Then if you ask me pronunciation and enunciation, I think there is something which I don't even know the difference as of now. But there's so many people who are very good at it. I tried that also. Somebody came and told me, if you read newspaper very loud, every single day, if you read newspaper very loud, you will actually become better. Because at that time, I was probably the only person who was making even Barack Obama and Michelle Gorbachev look like a South Indian. That's how my pronunciation was. So somebody suggested, why don't you read newspaper loudly every day? So one continuous week, I read newspaper loudly. But after that, the newspaper wala stopped putting paper at home because they said neighbors are complaining that you are actually creating havoc. So that also didn't work for me at all. Then people talk about vocal variety, body language. So I'm a very stoic person. For me, when I try body language, body goes in one direction, language goes another direction. It never syncs very well, right? And whereas somebody like, if you look at Craig Valentine and all these people, when he came to Mysore in 2011 for the district conference, he started somewhere on the stage with 600 people. He ended almost in the end of the auditorium. We didn't even know where he was speaking from. He was able to jump from all part of the stage and went into the audience and started jumping. For me, it was not possible. In Toastmasters, we actually have something very interesting, right? People say you divide the stage into multiple things. That's how body language can actually be. Stage management can be better. Some evaluator would have given this. So I tried that also very seriously. In one of the contests in 2013, I actually had divided the stage. One side of the stage was office. The other side was a park. And then the third side of the stage was my whole house. So after the contest was over, one very senior Toastmaster who came and told me, Sridhar, out of the 5 times we went home, 4 times we went to a neighbor's place, he said. He was actually marking where I was standing, where I had marked my house, and he found that I didn't go to my house. I said, don't tell loudly to my wife, in front of my wife, don't open this. So for me, that body language, stage management, nothing changed. And then when it comes to vocal variety, I have a very, very limited bandwidth of voice modulation. I can't keep screaming. In fact, once I tried saying that towards the end, I wanted to conclude with a very powerful vocal variety speech. So I went and asked people saying that what is the most important thing in life required now? Fire, fire, fire. The security came running saying that there is fire. That is how it was. So it didn't work at all for me. It was very difficult for me to comprehend any of those stuff in terms of vocal variety and all those things. So what of me changed? No vocabulary increase, no pronunciation change, no inspirational change, no body language, no vocal variety, nothing changed technically, and then it continues to be where I am. And then we have some Toastmasters like Ushi, and maybe we can even call Arun in that category, where some of them are eloquent speakers. They're brilliant, right? But I realized that looking at them and following them is like me following my yoga master. I give this example all the time. When I went into that yoga class, I got so tempted when I saw my yoga master's picture with his leg around his neck. I was fascinated. So I went and asked him, will I be also able to put my leg around the neck some stage? He said, why not? We can do it easily. So 1 week over, 2 weeks over, 3 weeks over, I looked at my leg and it did not even cross the hip level actually. And between the foot and my neck, it was looking like from Chennai to Bangalore via Kochi. That's how it was. It was nowhere closer. So finally, with a lot of anger, I went and asked him one day saying that, can you please tell me when will I be able to put my leg around the neck? Then he said, Sridhar, for the progress you made so far, forget about you putting your leg around the neck. If you want, you show me your neck, I'll put my leg around it. So that's how it was. So I felt that it is difficult for me to actually follow some people and then try to imitate them as a great speaker. And how will I be able to do that? So nothing of what I was has changed so far. I continue to be what I am. But then there is a famous saying which my guru Mahatriyara always says in Bhagavad Gita, without changing anything of Arjuna, Lord Krishna changed everything of Arjuna. Without changing anything of Arjuna, Lord Krishna changed everything of Arjuna. So which means none of this has changed, but there are so many other things that changed. And that is where I feel Toastmasters has given so much to me. So I have to then say, without changing anything of me, Toastmasters have changed everything of me. I learned the art of appreciation. I don't think there is any fraternity in the entire world that can actually teach the art of appreciation as much as what a Toastmasters fraternity can give. Imagine to hear about myself from somebody as profound as Arun is a great thing, right? It gives goosebumps for you to listen about yourself, to hear. And that's the appreciation that Toastmasters teaches people. And I'm sure many of you, we are meeting for the first time. And today, if you actually invite me, you go out and reach out to me so much to ask about me and then present to appreciate about me. And when I was the president of the club, the Sergeant at Arms had to introduce me 26 weeks continuously, right? Every week. Every week he'll come and ask me, tell me something about you. Tell me something about you. 3 weeks I gave, and 4th week I did not have anything more to give. So then he went and contacted my wife. 1 week he contacted my children. 1 week he contacted my friends. 1 week he contacted my relatives, friends, everybody. He tried as much as possible, and it all got exhausted. Then finally he came and asked me, Sridhar, tell me something which the club doesn't know about you so far. So that also I squeezed my brain. I found something and gave it. Now 8 weeks over, 9 weeks over. Now 10th week he came and asked me, Sridhar, can you tell me something which the club doesn't know about you at all? I said, whatever the club doesn't know, I don't want them to know. And that much only you can be sure. Please don't ask me anymore. So you actually go seek appreciation so much and then want to appreciate people. I'm sure you'll all be able to relate to me very well. When I first went as a guest to the Chennai Toastmasters Club, everybody will be given a table topic speech, right? I also went and spoke. I spoke for approximately 45 seconds. In that, around 15 seconds was good afternoon and 15 seconds was thank you. In between 15 seconds, I was thinking what to speak, and I came back, right? 45 seconds. And then they had one fancy system called table topics evaluation. The beauty was the table topic evaluator came and evaluated my 45-second speech for 2.5 to 3 minutes. And in fact, he actually got disqualified also because he went beyond 3.5 minutes. So he kept on telling me, saying that, no, it is great to see you come and speak. It is great for you to face the audience and speak. It is great you stood there for a long period of time. And I have only one suggestion, he said. Next time, talk something related to the topic, he said. So that's how you get appreciation from people. It is phenomenal, right? And you never know where. And I keep telling in my organization also, if only we follow this one trait in organization of appreciating people, and if only we can follow this one trait at home, just to appreciate, look for appreciation, points of appreciation, I'm sure the relationship within the organization, relationship within the family is going to be far, far, far fabulously different. And that's something which I learned out of Toastmasters. So that's the first point. And then the second point that I wanted to tell you is, it actually, you have a fun-filled learning in Toastmasters, because you're not calling me as an industry expert, right? You basically are calling me because I've done something in Toastmasters, and that's why you're calling me. So you're not judging me about my achievement, whether I'm a CEO or not, doesn't matter. So you're calling me not out of my subject expertise, but more out of the communication that I have learned out of this fraternity, and then you're calling me. So it's always fun-filled learning. You are not intimidated by that. You are not, when somebody comes and evaluates you, you don't feel intimidated. I have had situation where, when I was the managing director of Allergan, one of my frontline person came and wanted to join the club. So he was given as an evaluator for my speech one day. I think he took revenge that day very seriously. No, he gave me all points, and he was waiting for the whole year to give something like that, I think. So he made me think that I'm a speaker which is where I have no worth at all. And then he came and said sorry, because next month the appraisal was coming, so he knew that it can actually be, it can go back on him. So I'm saying, you here, the hierarchy doesn't matter. So irrespective of who you are and what you are, and you get to learn. Even when you are an evaluator, you are not learning the value of evaluation as much as you are learning the value of communication. Because how much you are able to pick up the nice points and then tell people so that they are motivated to come back. That is something which is very important. Even mentoring, for that matter, we all learn in the process. In fact, I remember when I initially became the mentor, I became a very strict military officer mentor. So I said, you have to really do this perfectly. You have to do. And I had one Toastmaster also, Archana, who probably was so unfortunate. She came to the club and said, I want only Sridhar as the mentor. So it was a great combination. So she was extremely energetic, enthusiastic for her icebreaker speech. She almost took 4 continuous days. At office, she was not doing anything else. She was only preparing icebreaker speech. And midnight, 12 o'clock, she'll call me and say, can I add this point? My wife will ask, who's the dude asking to add a point in the midnight? So we got so enthusiastic about it. I also went on a rampage saying that this point you cannot speak like this, that point you cannot speak like this, and all that. And finally, when the speech happened, she won the best speaker ribbon also. In fact, she was so happy that she had 4 CC5, CC7 speakers and all that, and she was an icebreaker speech, and she won the ribbon. But after that, she quit Toastmasters. You know why? Because she was not able to produce a second speech like the one she did the first speech. We set the bar so high, and she was not getting convinced at all that she will ever be able to deliver the speech to the standard of what the first speech was. So I thought, okay, all the 10 speeches mentoring I did in one speech itself, and I lost Toastmaster completely. Even today, she keeps telling me. I mean, she is very graceful in saying that I had some other work, I had to move to US and all that. I know that she never had the interest to come back and speak. I learned how mentoring can actually be very different and difficult. Imagine you actually try to apply this in your official capacity in the organization. Sometimes as bosses, we can be ruthless and brutal. And because of the hierarchy, because of the nature that you actually are holding their job in your hands, they may not open up. But how much will they implement? You're not sure. So that gave me a thought as to how we can actually be different in mentoring. How can we have this fun-filled learning extended in whatever we do in our professional life as well? And that's was something which is really important. The first one is appreciation. The second one was fun-filled learning. And the third important point was a fear of failure was not there. Right? You don't have fear of failure. And what happens, suppose if you're there on the stage and your mouth becomes dry, and you actually are ejected out of the stage because you're not able to complete. It happened to me. In 2006, when I went up on stage, I went to Sri Lanka. It was a district contest where I had a tremendous mentoring that had happened. But because of some stage pressure that I had, I was not able to complete the speech beyond 4.5 or 5 minutes. And hence I had to get disqualified from that contest. I felt, why should I subject myself to all this? I was already a marketing head of a 400 crore organization. I was having around 350, 400 people reporting to me. Why should I subject myself to such humiliation to go on stage and expose myself that I'm not able to speak properly? But then that's when I realized one day when I was going through the statistics of Sachin Tendulkar, he scored hundreds in cricket. I'm sure all of you know that very well. The most interesting thing of Sachin Tendulkar is are two interesting facts that I observed. He has scored 100. He has scored, if you have look at his success rate, let me put it that way. If you look at his success rate, out of the X number of innings that he has played, only less than 35% of the time he has scored more than 50 runs, which means remaining 65 matches out of 100, he has scored single digit or zero. So even big ones fail. And the most important thing is only the best performances are remembered. Nobody remembers the zero that he scored. And the second interesting point was, I'm sure all of us will remember the struggle that he had to complete the 100th century. Finally, after losing 18 kgs, after playing for multiple matches, coming closer, tensed so much, and then against Bangladesh, he scored 100, he celebrated. Can you imagine somebody who has scored 99 hundreds, have played 500 matches, still actually had that pressure? And where are we from that perspective? So that fear of failure, I had to get rid of completely. And that played a huge role in my mind. So every time I failed, I remembered people coming back and telling, it's okay, your speech was very good. And I came back to the stage and I continued to do it. So somewhere I learned that persistence, that fear of failure actually went out of my mind. So I evolved, my guru again says, I evolved from a stage of fear of performance to a fear of excellence rather. So today also I actually have some fear, but it may not be fear of performance, but it's fear of excellence. And that's how it is. I used to have major challenges in preparing my speeches. I still remember once one of the senior district officials came to our club for a speech. I was the sergeant at arms and I had written, I used to actually write everything by heart, word by word. And if I miss some word, I have to start from beginning. That's the kind of nature I had when I started. So that day when he came and told me, Sridhar, how are you preparing? Then I showed him the entire notes. For sergeant at arms, I actually prepared 2 pages. Then I asked him, sir, how do you prepare your speech? For me, very simple. Yeah. I get into the car, closed my eyes, I came to the venue and whatever came to my mind, I spoke. I felt it was fantastic, man. Come on, I can also try and do that. So after the meeting is over for the next speech, I got into the car and told the driver, you keep moving. I closed my eyes and I was preparing for my speech. After some time, he told me, sir, Krishnagiri has come. What do I do now? Right. So then I realized that I have to actually go by the strength that I have and not follow somebody else. And even if I fail, it is okay. I keep attempting. And finally, it became easy for me to actually practice and prepare in a shorter period of time. And I subjected myself to a lot of risks and, challenges. In one of the contests in 2016, I prepared 4 different speeches for 4 different levels. You don't need to do that. What you're using at the club, you can actually keep fine-tuning at the district level. I created 4 different speeches because I put pressure on myself just to see what is happening. At the most, what you'll not get your trophy that time, right? So I tried that. And I was able to go up to the district level and I placed first runner-up in the district level. And that was an amazing learning for me. So what I thought, one speech, actually, I need to keep on updating till the last level. I was able to prepare 4 speeches. And in fact, for the last speech between division and district, where I had only 20 days time. So I was so tempted. Oh, you have come up to division now. Why do you want to make a mockery of yourself at the district level? So one side of my mind was telling, no, go with the same speech. But then I actually went ahead and changed. And you'll not believe, I went to Korea. I had to travel to London. I had to travel to 2-3 other countries. Wherever I went, the first thing I was to locate a Toastmasters Club that day. I'll go there, book a slot, and then go and give the speech. And I found really encouraging that Koreans were able to actually connect with me on my speech. People in London club were able to connect with me on my speech. Then I thought, okay, this is the best for me to go, and then came and gave. I stood first runner-up in that. And there is another one in 2014. What I did was, we had semi-final and final the next day. I changed the speech between semi-final and final. My mentor was really mad at me. I said, boss, if I have to win, I will win. If I don't win, it's okay, no problem. And then, many people will come and tell that mic didn't work properly. First speaker is a problem. I have had the experience of being the number 1 speaker all the time, almost. In fact, I tell people also that when I meditate and, ask for something from God, you need to be very clear. So I always probably went and asked, I need to be number 1 speaker. Finally, when I pick up the lot, it will be number 1. Position was never number 1. So I said, you need to have that. And then mic would not work well. Timing, 9 o'clock, you will actually have a speech contest. How would you be able to do it? Previous day, you will have cocktail party till late night. Everybody will be still tipsy, and how do you basically make them understand? They will not laugh when you want to crack a joke. All those things will keep running in your mind. Then I told something. If I have to one day become a public speaking champion, I need to overcome all this, right? Why should everything be favorable for me? And there will be judges' bias which will be there. It's human for them to actually mark the way they think it is right. But if you keep on looking at blaming others, blaming external factors, you will never be able to progress. One day when I become a world champion, I should have probably overcome all possible things. And midnight when somebody wakes up and says, give a speech, I should be able to give a speech. And that time I will feel very happy that I can become a great champion, right? And that's what something which I overcame. So in the 15 years time, today I don't have a fear of failure at all. It's okay. And if a joke doesn't work well, it's okay. It's fine. And you go back and learn and then come back again significantly powerful. So appreciation, fun-filled learning, fear of failure, right? And then I actually have to say accountability. Here is again, I want to talk about people like Arun who have taken this as their accountability in giving so much to the fraternity, right? And the beauty of this fraternity is there is one Ralph Smetley in some 1924 found something to say that you can come and speak and overcome your fear of public speaking and you can become a better leader. After that, there is no one single individual who can be credited with anything. It's a group of people every single year who are completely diverse in nature, heterogenic population, who come together from different countries, different walks of life, different background, and they come and they run the show so well and so many millions of people get benefited. That's the beauty of it, right? And because there are people who take accountability for what they're doing. So much of pushing they did, so much of follow-up that they did. In fact, I have to say sorry to the person who was tracking me. He had asked for a small write-up and I could not give, but he wrote something much better than what otherwise I would have written. So thanks to you for that. So what I'm saying is there's so much of follow-up happens and nobody is going to push it on them. If you had not done it, nobody is going to question. So there is an accountability factor which is there in people do, and that is something which is phenomenal. If I'm able to really relate that in an organization, how many of us take accountability beyond what is expected out of us? We don't. We think that it is a favor for us to do our job itself. So if we can take accountability, it can actually bring out a lot of positive things out of us. So that's the next point that I have. And then the next is inspirations. I don't think there is any other fraternity where you can find inspirations the way you can find inspirations in Toastmasters fraternity. I have to compliment, I have to acknowledge, I have to express my gratitude to the many mentors whom I have had so far. And their mentoring has not been very simple to me. As I told you that I have had a metamorphosis in my speaking journey. Of course, I was passionate and I went to them, but imagine they were equally or more passionate with me in making me a better speaker. I have to actually talk about a couple of people who really made a huge difference. Nina John, in 2006, when we went to Sri Lanka, almost well past midnight, she even forgot to order for food in the restaurant sitting there. And after 1 o'clock or 1:30, we ordered for a sandwich and she continued her mentoring for me till 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's the kind of, nobody would expect her to do that. And she did. And similarly, I had another mentor called Ian Faria. I'm sure in Bangalore, people would know him very well. Once he told me that, okay, I'm coming from Baroda in the evening. And as soon as I come, we'll meet, because next day I was traveling. He is coming to Bangalore, but I was traveling out of Bangalore for a meeting. Next few days I'm traveling and then the contest is happening. So he said, okay, since you are traveling, as soon as I come, we will definitely meet that evening. 9 o'clock my flight lands, 10 o'clock we'll meet at home, he said. And at 9 o'clock, I'm waiting for his message. Then he messages me saying that flight delayed by 1.5 hours or something. So which means his flight takes off at Baroda at 10:30, lands at 11:30 or 11:45 and comes out at 12, reaches home at 1:30. And then I was very politely asking him, sir, what do we do now? He said, come. And for me, that 4-letter word is good enough. I just jumped, took the vehicle and went to his house at 1:30 or so. Not believe between 1:30 and 2:30, a man who actually worked the whole day, spent time in the airport, traveled all the way, came and with that energy gave inputs to me because I was traveling the next day and I'm not going to be in town. Where can you find such inspirations? Right? It's impossible for you to find such people. And for what do they get out of it? There's nothing. And that is the most important thing. And last but not the least, the journey has been extremely rewarding for me. And this is an institution. or maybe I don't know whether you call it a financial institution or any institution that you call, which has given me infinitely high returns. You can be greedy, you will get output the same way. You can be opportunistic, you will still be able to get what you want. You can be selfish, you will still be able to get you want. All what you have to do is just go and present yourself week after week, week after week, week after week, and that will take you to a completely different level. In fact, when I became the president of LA 194 Toastmasters Club in 2010, I went and told them, saying that this is a commitment to me today. If I am available in Bangalore and if I am alive, I will not miss a Toastmasters meeting. I told this. If I am alive and if I'm in Bangalore, I will not miss a Toastmasters meeting. And when you take such resolutions, I think God also helps you. For almost 5 years, I did not miss a single meeting had I been in Bangalore. I did not miss a single meeting. And opportunities, actually, everything will come in such a way. In fact, my organization, everybody will know, including my boss at that time. Oh, this guy, Wednesday means he will never stay back here. Let him go. So I told him, saying that, in fact, when my HR came and told me, why are you not attending the evening dinner? I said, boss, I am taking personal interest for my development to help the organization as well. I'm not asking you to pay. I'm paying money and I'm developing myself. And if you are sponsoring me for this program, would you expect me to bunk a program and attend dinner? You would not, right? So why are you taking it bad? So I want to basically go and participate in the meeting, and only Wednesday evening. Other days you call me anytime, I'm ready to come. Once you set that in people's mind, every week people would know Sridhar will not be there on Wednesday after 6 o'clock. That is something which was extremely rewarding for me. And there are so many such things which I can keep talking about, and it can really keep unfolding. These are the points that I nerd, but even when it comes to humor, I don't think there is anybody who would have accepted or agreed if I'm looking anywhere good to be a good humorous speaker. Correct? I'm so grumpy. People think that I'm very serious. And now I've gone to a stage where I've still started a company called Jokes Apart, which is going to be into light-hearted leadership. Right? And I believe that corporates, chief executive officers should be having that creativity where you actually are becoming witty. And I try every time in the organization, even today when I make a presentation, every time. In fact, today presentation also I said, I want to be very different. I told, saying that normally it is conventional for people to start the presentation with the welcome. So I want to start the meeting with a thank you, I said. So the third slide was thank you. So then I told them also, saying that the only problem is when I did the same thing in my organization, 2 people stood up thinking the meeting got over. Then I had to clarify to them, saying that no, meeting is not over, because we are so conditioned to actually in our life. I told them, saying that if you put a X mark in any paper, you'll immediately put your signature without even reading what it is there. So we are so conditioned. So this opportunity I used to bring some lighter thing, even to a completely unrelated fraternity, which is doctors, for 400 people were there. So I was able to bring that humor. So normally a person of my profile, when I'm speaking on stage to all the professionals, it is expected to be serious. But I told them nothing will be serious. And maybe you will decide not to call me again, but it's okay. And this is how I will speak. And it was a fabulous response eventually I had. And I told them as one suggestion to them, saying that one core beyond your core. So it will be good for you to have your core work, which is fine. But you have to take one more core where you actively participate, not passive participation. It could be Toastmasters, it could be Rotary, it could be Lions Club, it could be some NGO work and all that. But take active participation in that. Because the kind of learning that you will have out of that second core is going to help you significantly in the first core. Why? Because you learn the art of appreciation there. You will learn fun-filled learning. You will overcome the fear of failure. You will learn accountability. You will see inspirations, and it will be extremely rewarding. And hence, you need to take something. And people ask me, how much time can I give? And I ask them, saying that, okay, what importance do you give this activity? So one of my mentees came and told me, I asked him, saying that, how much time would you want to give for, what percentage you want to give for importance to this? He said, 20%, 25% of my life I can devote to Toastmasters. Then I told him, if you take 5%, if you devote 5%, every day 5% is how 24 hours is 1.2 hours. In a week, it's 8.4 hours. In a year, actually, you can multiply it as 15 days. At 5%, if you are able to devote every single day, you will actually be a master in what you're doing, in anything that you do. But it cannot be passive. Okay, I became a member, I went there, I go every time, I come back. That's not going to work. Plunge into something, because it is not going to affect you. In turn, the success is going to help you in what you're doing as a core. The learning that you will have will be fabulous. Fabulous. Right? So, friends, I want to conclude saying that nothing of me changed, but everything of me changed. So, without changing anything of me, Toastmasters changed everything of me. And that to me is an affair. A for appreciation, F for fun-filled learning, F for overcoming fear of failure, A for accountability, I for inspiration, and R for rewarding. And that to me is an affair. And to me, an affair is something which you can't put logic into. Right? If you put logic into it, then it's not an affair. You cannot put logic. There has to be some emotional connect. There has to be something which is absolutely illogical in what you're doing. So I give this example again. When I was during my courtship with my wife, I was in Bangalore and she was in Coimbatore. She was traveling from Chennai to Coimbatore. On her birthday on the January 21st that year, I traveled all the way 400 kilometers in a bus to Coimbatore railway station, waiting for her to come and land in the railway station. Almost 6 hours I waited. And because of her parents were around her, I could not go and greet her. And she was looking around for me. And from a whisper, from a distance, I had to whisper happy birthday. And she just said thanks with her eyes. So if you ask me, why did you travel 400 kilometers, waited for 6 hours, finally you couldn't even shake hands with her or speak to her and all that, you can't. And that is illogical. You cannot put logic to it. Why did you do it? I want to do it, and that's how it is. And that's the power of an affair. So what you're getting into, if you're able to push yourself to the best of what your ability is, I'm telling you, it's like a gym. Every single moment that you spend in Toastmasters will help you build your muscles. What you use that muscle is for a different thing. All of us need not become world champion of public speaking. Everybody who goes to the gym need not actually become Mr. Madras or Mr. India or Mr. Universe, right? Somebody like me go to the gym just to build muscle so that I can lift the gas cylinder at home. That's also possible. Right? The objectives could be different. But eventually, if you are able to do it every single moment of your life, putting that actively into it, I'm sure that affair will produce phenomenal results. And I'm sure everybody will be able to say that without changing anything of me, Toastmasters changed everything of me. Thank you. And I would like to take any questions if you have.
Wow. Thank you so much for that heartfelt, very candid sharing of how you developed as a professional, as a speaker. And is this sort of very candid sharing that actually lets people know what does it take to make those icons at the corporate level or those that are district champions. So I think that the backstory is always the hard one to get. And I think we were very fortunate to hear your backstory today with all the candidness and sharing us with all humility. You know, most people I've seen in my life, once they cross that threshold and become icons, they tell stories which are so unreal. You know, sometimes you feel like, wow, maybe it's not for us. But when people like you share it as it is, it gives us a feeling that normal humans, if they persevere and if they can have the discipline and the gumption and the passion, they can also touch the silver lining, and the clouds are not too far away. Thank you so much, Sridhar, for that really heartfelt, sincere, and very, very flowing presentation. You can really make out it's coming from deep within. And I think there's so many people who've been on the chat saying that it was really inspiring for them. I'd like to request the admin to please unmute all of us. And can we please unmute everybody? And I'd like to request all the guests to please unmute yourself. And as a gratitude, if you felt that the speech was something that you liked, please show your appreciation for the speaker. He's actually made time for us in the hotel after a conference. Thank you so much, Sridhar. It really made my day.
Thank you very
I really
much.
learned enormously from this session.
Thank you so much.
So I would be very happy to encourage the audience to share one word to describe the speech that you heard. One word. If any of you want to come off camera, to describe one word to describe, only one word allowed. anyone wants to get started, please go ahead. Jyoti, maybe you want to lead.
Enlightening.
Okay, anybody else? It's your turn to unmute and just share one word on what you have.
Affair is inspiring.
Okay, that's a word too many, but let's stick to a word, please.
Honest.
Believable.
Wonderful. Anybody else?
Inspirational.
Okay.
Inspirational.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else?
Mind-boggling.
Wonderful.
It was amazing.
Thank you. There's someone who's got a TV behind. Can you please mute or unmute when you want to speak? So thank you so much for sharing your feedback. And those of you who don't want to come on camera or speak, you can always share that word on the chat session if you're a little reluctant to come on camera and share your experience for the day. So Sridhar, you heard it from the audience. That was something that was unscripted response of the audience. It really definitely made a huge impact and made many of us think about your journey and try and connect it to our journey and see where we could take some nuggets out and put it in practice. Now I'll open the floor for a set of questions. So if any of you have questions to ask our speaker, you might want to raise your hand using the Zoom app and I'd let you ask your question. Okay, the first one who's raised his hand is Sudesh OP, who's our own a speaker from the club who went to the district level. So I'm sure he has loaded questions for you, Sridhar. Over to you, Sudesh, to ask your question, please.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster or Distinguished Toastmaster Sridhar Ranganathan, for that thought-provoking, wonderful session. I really loved it. Especially the question is around the fear, right? Having reached so far, how do you overcome really that fear, the fear